Hello and welcome to the final booster pack in this Commander deck build challenge, where we've been drafting a deck 3 cards at a time from random booster packs. We had 27 at the start, 3 Commander Legends, and 24 assorted, which I should really have put into the description, but I'm fairly certain I won't have done that, largely because I know some of them are already on live. Hey, we're not recording this on the day, as you might expect. Still, yeah, it's been an interesting challenge in terms of just deck building and then just frustrations of what colours and combinations and what commanders we've had options for. I think opening the Commander Legends was correct, and we got fairly lucky. We're getting them early, but then we opened up this, which completely changed things. And I think honestly, I'll just go through the other things we picked up here, because I've been piling up all my cards underneath the desk just so I've got them available in case I need to look. But if we'd have opened a lender early on, we might even have done black-white, and given the amount of good white-black cards we've seen, this could have been a really amazing deck. What I might do actually is just build a black-white sacrifice deck out of the remains of everything we've drafted up to this point, and just see how good that deck is. Maybe I'll even get Vanna to play it against this. Who knows? I definitely want to do something with this deck, whether it's even just a separate event where I basically record a gameplay footage with this pile of cards. And yeah, we'll see. Anyway, we're definitely doing something. We're not just going to leave it as that. Something is going to happen tomorrow. Let's see how it goes. We have one booster remaining, and the booster we are choosing is going to be Journey into Nyx as our final booster pack. So the remaining 3 we didn't get an option for. Just for Remembrance, Eldritch Moon, Set 21, and the Unstable booster, which I'm disappointed we're not going to open, because that could have opened some real chaos in there. Maybe I'll open these. I don't know what I want to do with these, in all honesty. Let's save them for next year, maybe. Crack them open and see what we would have got if we'd have been lucky enough to go this way around. But the pick is Journey into Nyx, so let's see what we get. So this is the 3rd and final part of the original Pharaoh's block. Yep. Let's see what happens in the realm of the gods. We go and get a Ravenous Leocrocotta? Is that how we're going to pronounce that? I don't know. So it's a 2/4 for 4 with Vigilance, and it has an effect called Monstrous, or Monstrosity free. So we pay that much, add 3 counters on it, and it becomes Monstrous version of what it currently is. So it's a creature we can power up later down the line if we wanted to. Not especially helpful with what we're doing, but you never know. Aspect of the Gorgon, which gives it +1/+3 and has Death Touch. Again, Death Touch is a fair thing to put on Aura. Increasing its defense is usually the opposite way around of how Death Touch effects kind of work, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense. If you can keep your creature alive with Death Touch, keep killing things every now and then. Also give it on just a weak creature and see how it goes. Then have the Oakheart Dryads, which is whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under control, target creature gets +1, so nothing too exciting there. Font of Vigor. This is a random life gain effect, so basically it's an enchantment, we can sacrifice it, gain 7 life. Not especially useful. That's on the very definitely not going to be used, even if it was in the right colours. Oh, god damn it. Alright. Well, it's removal. It's not good removal, it's spot removal, which, as I've mentioned in Commander, you generally want mass removal rather than spots, but still. Destroy target enchanted creature or enchantment creature. Useful for the set, not necessarily useful for Commander as a whole, but hey. Stonewise Fortifier. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to target creature this turn for 5. It's fine, but not great. Again, also, it's not the sort of thing we're going to be using. This is an okay spell, sort of. Magnus Ray. Deals 2 damage to our creature. If it would die, exile it instead. So 2 mana does damage to creatures. 1 mana. We could have better rates. So lightning bolts we could have for 1, which do 3 damage, but as we're in a draft environment, that's not the worst thing we could get, I suppose. We then have Hubris, which is return target creature and all auras attached to their owner's hands, so we can use it to either save one of our creatures or just bounce a threat off the board. It's a reasonable spell. Not going to argue with that too much. Oh, hello. Sigiled Skink, which is a 2/1 for 2, and when it attacks, we scry. So filters out our draws, also gives us card draw if our other commander's out. If we go for, well, in almost certainly, if we're going animal, we're going to take Elagath. But yeah, we're looking to scry all the way through, and we're really disappointed on that basis. Starfall. Deals 3 damage to that creature. If that creature's enchantment also does 3 to the controller. That is terrible. Even instant speed does. So just Magnus Raid 2, exile, free invocation to do 3 damage to the opponent as well. Not that relevant in this format. We then get the Reviving Melody. It's always worth having 1 or 2 of these effects, but this one returns target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or target enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. So we might run that on the basis of getting some recursion. Might be relevant, we'll see. Next up, we go and grab a Nyx Fleece Ram, which is a 0/5 for 2 and gains you 1 life at your upkeep. I kind of like this sheep. I know it's incidental life gain, but it does have the benefit of being at least a wall, so it's not entirely irrelevant. It's difficult to remove and without just direct kill effects. And also, why would you get rid of it? It's not doing anything. But incidentally, you know, gaining but 1 point of life. I don't like the effects, but you know, I've run this card in a few enchantment-based decks previously. We then have the Chariot of Victory. And how can we not take the Chariot of Victory? First strike, trample, haste, 1 to equip. I mean, this has not been a great booster in all honesty. Our last card is the Doomwake Giant. When Doomwake Giant or another enchantment hits the battlefield under control, creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 until end of turn, which would be a great little mini Wrath effect, but we're not in black. So, what are we taking out of this lot? I think we're taking Magma Spray, because cheap removal, absolutely. Might take the Chariot of Victory, and I think we're going to take, over the Ravenous Sphinx, we're going to take a Reviving Melody and just see if we can get any benefit out of it. I don't know if there's any point to taking any of the rest of it. Incidental life gain, protection, incidental life gain, expensive removal. The Skink, I suppose, is at least a creature we could play, but we're forced to attack with it, which might not always be relevant. So I think we're going to stick with this. So we have now finished building our deck. Well, we finished putting all the pieces together. Now we have to try and nearly put those cards back into play. That would be kind of weird and terrible. Alright, so the only card I don't have currently in this pile is Rograk, because I was using it in a constructed deck. Well, not a constructed deck, another commander deck that I had built. So, let's see where we actually are with things and see if we can build ourselves a deck. So, in Commander, you want to build, generally speaking, a 24 land deck with 36 spells of some sort. Helps if you've got some ramp. So we're going to put all of our Commander options to the front, although admittingly, yeah, we'll see. So most likely we are just going to go with Animar and creature based. So let's go and sort by mana cost. That is unlikely, but you never know. Also, that is more fluff from that darn stocking. I will have to replace the stocking for next year. Wild Hunger, 2. That's a token that can go away. Next we get 1, 3, 3, 4, 5, 4, 6. So 5 plus now. Was it a 6 plus? Wall Blossoms, Crashing Footfalls, which is technically a 1-drop. 5, 4. I've got things in the wrong places. This is terrible. Alright, this is going to be really rapid deck building, I think, as much as possible here. Because we got a reasonable curve here. It's just now trying to work things out and just making sure of things. That's technically a 1-drop. We have a lot of those. A few big things. Undersea Troll, 6. Battle Rattle Shaman, Ramp. Almost tempted to go just on that basis for the removal at 6. Which is not greatest. Merchant of the Veil, the Unsealing, which, I mean, actually we built a bit better than I thought for this sealing, given everything. Hour of Promise, which is an X spell. We're not sure we got that much in the way of things for it, but you never know. So 6, 6. Path of Ancestry, which will go in the deck regardless, so that's one of our lands, so we'll need to find 23 lands after we're done with this. Artifact 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. Ridiculous white spell. I think we're going to put all ridiculous white spells to one side here. We could have done something quite good out of that, I think. You know, bro, we should have found somebody to use that. Same with Onward. Okay. So, sort by colour. That will go into anything. Ramp. Blue, black. Creature. I mean, I don't know how much we can boggles with this deck, but that might be how we go with it. Who knows? So that's a very low to the ground start. Search for Tomorrow also technically counts as a 1-drop, at least in terms of how I can vision it, but obviously we can play it for less as well. And then we need to prioritize creatures a little bit. So non-creature spell gets +1 so and can't be blocked. That's a consideration. I think that goes in because it can put counters on things. The armories go in because anything that's going to power our creatures up is probably going to be relevant given how things are going. One of removal, sort. Don't know if we want to renown that troll at that stage. Crypsis. Wall of Blossoms is actually reasonable. That's removal. We might be running too low to the ground, but at the moment I'm just removing things I don't think are going to be that good, or things I can see we got better stuff than that. Yep. 1 counter spell. That is our 1 counter spell, I think. Bolt of Canos I don't like. I don't mind the Shaman with Scry. That's fine. Dwiddle's removal. Maybe I don't like the Chariot anymore. We don't have enough non-creatures for Weed Dragonauts. Combat Trick that you can see coming. Alright, we're in run 1, so we're going to keep everything that could be useful here. I'm sorry I'm not highlighting things on screen. This is not how this is going to be. Hopefully I will explain them at some point. Sarkhan's and Fakening. It might even just be easier for me to build the deck and then come back. I might fade out. Maybe I'll put this as a 2.5, or maybe I'll split this off and hide this part of the process here. Equipment or vehicle. We actually do have some reasonable equipment, so that's not unheard of that we could play that. Less keen on that. Bond of Insight. Instant or sorceries. We are running quite a few of those now. Battle Rattle Shaman. Less keen on. Ramp into 6. That's fine. We're going to play our Dragon. We have 1 counterspell already in the lower end, and Unwind is a much better counterspell, so that's a cut there. Next up, we have the Hour of Devastation, which is our removal. Got to keep that. And then it's which of these is actually best here. Count the number of +1/+1 counters. That's actually on the bigger section here. Zaldra Seekers I don't think does enough for us here, but could be relevant. I prefer to run this because, again, Animar cares about the number. That's going to be cheaper. And I think the Manticore Eternal is fine. It's got to attack every turn, which is a problem, but it's still not the worst. Rumbling Ruin has a benefit with Animar. That doesn't do a lot. That has a drawback. That cycles. That potentially can shoot other things down. We're going to play our removal. That is the best spell in our set. That can potentially be cast for 1 mana, and that is at least reaching. Okay. So those we're kind of cut at this point. We might come back, we'll see. The other thing to consider, of course, is that the commanders count as well. So we're definitely running Elgath. I think we're running enough to make Kalefe worth it. We're definitely running enough to make Emoti worth it. I mean, even if we're only running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spells, 10 spells, that's still a 6th of the deck. So 1 in 6 of our draws will be able to cascade and get a double out of it if we have Emoti on the field. Slim Voda, I think we're going to play. We're not going to play any of these now. Not unless I go for a mass rebuild later. Okay. So, let's find out exactly how many cards I've got to cut through this time for the second pass. So, ignoring this because that's in our land slots. Actually, didn't have any more lands today. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. So we're going to cut 47 cards down to 36. So I need to cut 11, basically. And then we have a deck. So I like the Slippery Bogle, and we got enough. I think that's going to make that reasonably worth it here in terms of creatures we could attach to it. Select for Inspection is a little bit of instant speed removal, and also it only saves tapped creatures though. Alright. First thing in terms of removability is anything that's incidental is worse than anything that isn't. So incidental removal is worse than just removal. Magnum Spray and Magnetic Sinkhole. Magnetic Sinkhole is technically situational, but it costs 6, so it does give us a benefit for Emoti. Shield Bearer is probably fine. We can play it as Morph. Our equipment upgrades is fine. That's fine. Filtering. Untap target creature gains protection from your opponent's control until end of turn. Untap it. I think Crypsis is a bit situational as a card, so we'll take that out. Card draw. Can do multiple things, so that puts it in. Ramp. Counterspell. Ramp. Fine. That's a question mark on the Wild Hunger, because that's a combat trick that, again, people will see coming, and it's how much a benefit we're actually getting from that. We do have ways to power up the Wild Beastmaster, so that's okay. We do not have a lot of enchantments, but we have a few, so that might be worth playing. Dwiddle, I kind of like, so we're going to keep it for the moment. We have enough legendary creatures and artifacts to make Joyous familiar. Okay, Sarkhan's Unsealing is kind of what we've been building to for a while. Gonna question mark the Deadeye Quartermaster at this point. Can question the Wanderer as well, because ramp at 4 as opposed to the other things. Well, it does get this into a turn 6, a turn 5, 6 drop. And potentially fixes up 3 colors, so okay, no, we'll keep that in. This needs a lot of red, but it's still an efficient, potentially 2 mana 3/3 flyer, so that's fine. I like the Sharpshooters, Vigilance Reach 4/4. This has to attack every turn and isn't a 6 mana spell, so maybe we cut that. Caliphate, and then we're back to Slim Dodo. Okay, so from that pass, we're down to 42. Okay. 6 more cards to get rid of. Finale of Promise. What spells do we actually get with Finale of Promise? We can have a Crashing Footfalls, Search for Tomorrow, either of our 2 burn spells, a couple of ramp spells, a couple of recovery spells. Bond of Insight is already exiles itself, so that's not going to be one of the spells we can get back. Get back Arrow of Devastation, and also River's Rebuke. So, okay, there's enough targets for Finale to be okay. That's fine. Slippery Bogle. How many ways do we have to power up the Slippery Bogle? So 1, 2 from the Kopesh and the Curious Obsession. Then have Hero's Blade, which we can technically equip to it, but obviously it's not a legendary creature, it's just something we can do with that. Armory by Roas. Yeah, maybe it's not that good as a 1-drop. We don't have enough that's benefiting from it, and I think that also applies to the Kopesh as well. So we'll take those out. We're running enough legendary creatures that I think the Hero's Blade is fine, and Armory of Iroas is a direct benefit with Anima, who also technically would count as mine, and I don't know if I did, so I might have to cut another 4 cards. I like double Rhino on turn 1, so that's fine. I like Ramp on turn 1. Curious Obsession, can't draw, can't turn that down. Magnum Spray is a little situational, and it's spot removal. I think we'd probably prefer the Sinkhole on that basis after a bit of setup, because then we would need to kill something or do 5 damage, so that's fine. Maybe that's a little weak, but it's a morph we can play for 3 if we've got 3 counters on Anima at any given turn, and we do need creatures. Also, specifically, it is Creature Spell that brings him back. Return to Nature is enough situational use out of that, I think. Madome's Prophecy by itself is scryed to effectively draw the spell if we know what the second name is, which we should do, provided we're memorizing that well enough. Map the Waste is fine, also works into our ramps package with Anima. I like having 1 counter spell, but that might be a maybe at this stage. I think Reviving Melody is going to come out. Dwiddle, I think we might just about have a justification for. And then maybe it's getting rid of one of our high-end cards. So, of our high-end cards, which one is the weirdest? So Invader, oddly, could be cast for a lot cheaper with Anima and Battlefield, so that's not as bad. Emoti is, I think, we got enough payoffs for Emoti that I think it's worth it. Caliphate is a bit of protection. We're also running a fair number of blue permanents, so I mean, if we just have Caliphate after Anima, it's already a free. That's giving everything a bit of protection, a little bit anyway. The Archweaver might be expensive for what it's doing. is a 5-mana creature drop for that. So, maybe we just don't like the Stalker at this stage. Droros Familiar, Beastmaster, Stormcaller, Keranos. It's creatures that do things, and that's what we kind of got a lot of here. So, yeah, I think we can cut the Shield Bearer. I think we got enough low drops that are doing not a lot to help us do that. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just a quick recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Alright, so 37 would mean we'd be running 23 lands, which is not a good rate, in all honesty. One of those is that. So we need to make one cut. What is doing the least amount of work in terms of what the deck wants to do, which is cast creatures, cast big things after that. I mean, oddly, Slim Vodo actually has a slight nombo here, but we can cast it sooner and just get an 8/8 on the battlefield. If we want to use the kicker effect as well, that would bounce just about our entire board. But there's a possibility that's benefiting to us. It's resetting Animar for not a lot of benefit. Maybe we cut the Archweave, because I've looked at that a couple of times. I think that's the weakest of the cards we got here. I've looked at the Skyship Stalker, and it's not great, but I think it's potentially doable if we can get enough red. Ramping into 6 is fine. Bond of Insight, I might think now has a light glut of targets, although admittingly some of those targets are good ones. Maybe I'll just get rid of the Return to Nature and just hope that I don't have to worry about that. It's useful having this sort of effect, but that puts us to 36. So at that point, we then have 23 additional lands plus this, and we have a deck. So, day 24, we have a deck of cards out of this lot. I will probably build a deck out of the remains and the things we didn't pick from this pack as well, and we'll see how well that goes. So, this is Shadowhawk 2012. Thank you for joining us. Tomorrow, we'll see if we can get a game out of this. Until next time.